There is something brilliant about a great cup of coffee, but only a coffee lover would know that. Sir Winston Churchill said, "In a pizza is one who feeds a crocodile hoping it'll eat him last." The biggest mistake we make in life is when we start to compromise. But there is a limit to which we can pretend to be what we are not. There will be a day when it'll burn you out and you will have to give in to what you really are. And so, once upon a time. There was a time when Franco was the toast of Rome. He was the head chef of the fine dining Italian restaurant of the Piazza Navona, aptly named the Caesar's Buffet. There was a time when the restaurant was pre-booked by the European cuisine aficionados weeks in advance. There was a time. That time was now in the past. 2 years ago, the owner of the restaurant, Mr. Puccini, passed away quietly in his sleep, leaving in his wake a time of disquiet. Santino Puccini, his son, did not like food as much as he liked money. He wanted to add another floor to the restaurant and change the menu to one that suited every palate. When you try to please everyone, you please no one. We are the Caesar's Buffet and not the Pizza Express, Franco had said in his firmest way he knew, but sadly, it wasn't firm enough. Franco had always been a mild-mannered man, and a lot of his friends would think him almost non-confrontational, and they were right. There are two kinds of people, Laura, his wife would often tell him. One, who explode and get it all out of the system, and two, those who keep their anger within and implode and constantly burn within themselves. But you are the rare third kind. You don't feel any anger at all. He would laugh at the interpretation of his personality because he knew that Laura saw the real him. Laura did know Franco better than anybody else, and she knew because he was hurting terribly since the change had happened in the restaurant. Yet, whenever she tried to broach the subject, he just brushed it aside like it was just a figment of her imagination. The new floor came up, and with that came another chef to share the burden, as Santino put it crisply. Very quickly, the other chef became the one in charge, and he was just left to do the mundane work. Then came the hard blow when everyone but a few of them did not get a raise, and Franco was among them. The connoisseurs stopped visiting the restaurant that was now full of American tourists. Franco was dying a little every day, but he would not speak about it. Laura noticed that their personal relationship changed as well. Franco was depressed most of the time, and he was no longer the romantic Italian lover that she knew. It was a warm summer night. Laura joined her husband on the patio of their apartment that overlooked the Tiber. Franco was quiet, smoking his pipe and looking out at the river. "Do you know about the frog experiment, Franco?" Laura asked him. Franco looked at her and shook his head, not really interested in the experiment. "They say when a frog is put into hot water in a kind of a saucepan, it jumps out, but when put in cold water, it does not jump out." "Laura, anyone would do that. Why would you need an experiment to prove that?" "Franco, listen to the whole thing. They say that a frog can regulate its body temperature. So when you put a frog into cold water and then very gradually begin to heat the water, the frog does not notice the change, but becomes more active in the water to keep its body temperature in tune with the water." Franco stopped looking out at the river and turned to look at Laura, interested. The water gets hotter and the frog grows more active till the frog gets tired and cannot regulate the body temperature anymore. Frog dies in the hot water. It has spent too much energy trying to deal with the problem that would never go away. It has no energy left to jump out of the water. Laura kissed Franco, gave him a tight hug, and then walked back into the house, allowing Franco to take in the night and his future. 6 months later, Franco and Laura invited everyone they knew to the opening of their own restaurant, a fine dining Italian restaurant. They called it the Leaping Frog. It was after a long time that Laura saw Franco smile like that.